Welcome back to Pink Ember Media with Armchair Reality.
Reality
Reality
Armchair.
Armchair.
I was pretty surprised you were doing the intro and then you fucked it up instantly, but
Rude.
we just watched episode 3, season 48, episode 3 of Survivor. Historic episode. Jeff kept mentioning it. Um
He kept mentioning it.
well just at tribal he was like, this is a historic tribal council. This has never
Well, he
happened
only said
before.
that after the vote,
Yeah.
after what happened.
Well, I mean, it seemed like there was like three different things that have never happened with the tie and with someone not having a vote and all of that. But anyway, um, I guess we should start where we always start, which is actually first off, before we get into the episode, we need to mention that for anyone who's watching from the start or is just like jumped in and you like our commentary and you want to keep following along, it would help a lot if you subscribed and like the video. That this is like the least you can do. I think we have a Patreon, but we don't have anything up, so I wouldn't recommend subscribing at this moment. We'll work on it this month. But liking and subscribing, commenting as well, like what your thoughts are.
We also want to mention that we've chosen to decorate our wall
Oh
with
yeah,
records, and we have an extensive record collection. So this last week we did Pink for Pink Ember Media. And then this week we did the winter color, and that was Loggy, so purple. So all of our records have purple in it.
we have, for anyone who doesn't know, Man on the Moon 3 by Kid Cudi. I got that for like $7 at Target. It's like a brand new record. I don't know why the fuck it was $7, but I was like, I'll get it. I don't think I'd heard it at that point. I think I had only heard Tequila Shots. But I love the Man on the Moon trilogy. Well, just the first two, and I like 3 a good amount. And then we have Nine Inch Nails, Pretty Hate Machine, probably my favorite Nine Inch Nails record. It's pretty close with the Downward Spiral. And then MGMT's Congratulations, probably my favorite as well. I think it was Time to Pretend, or what was that album called? It's like
Time to pretend.
or Orculus. It starts with the O and the first letter is an O and the second letter or the second word is an S. But anyway, I think this one is more like prog rock, and I really like the sound of this album the more I hear it. And then this one, Olivia Rodrigo, I think that's Guts,
Yeah.
and I like Guts quite a bit. I think it grew on me. At first, I was like not feeling it, and
I'm not an Olivia
she
Rodrigo
hasn't really
fan.
given it a fair shot.
We tried listening to it in the car, and I was
We
not a
heard
fan.
one song, which is very angsty and like not, I don't think, a good representation. I think you would like Pretty is Pretty. I think that's what that song is called. There's definitely a lot more cuts on that. I think you would appreciate if you actually gave it a shot.
Well, anyways,
Anyway,
this
those
is a Survivor recap.
this is for a recap. There's the 4 um, records, and I'll actually put a timestamp on this video because the intro is longer than normal. So I guess we should start with your notes because you are now taking notes.
Well, it's easier
Yeah, no, I
to
agree, and I would take notes, but I think I kind of know what I want to say, especially when you bring up the points.
especially off of my notes. You know
Yeah,
what
well,
you want to
you'll
say.
mention something that happens. I'm like, oh yeah, that's my opinion, or that's
How convenient.
yeah,
Well, okay, so obviously it starts with Vula walking back from tribal
the
because,
Kevin Blind, or no,
yeah, the Kevin blindside that
his
just
name's not
happened.
Kevin.
Yes, it was.
That was Kyle. Is Kyle
No,
in the other one?
yeah,
Okay,
it
so
was
the Kevin
Kevin.
Blindside.
So then Cedric pulls Mary aside to make sure she's okay.
Yeah,
And Mary's just like, I'm dead in the water. I mean, I've been on the bottom this entire time. And she just kind of laughs and she's like, yep, I'm good. And in her interview, she says like she doesn't have any fake friends anymore. I guess they were like being somewhat nice to her. And now she just like knows that they're lying to her. So she knows not to trust anyone for sure. And then Say is mad that she played her idol because she shouldn't have had to because Cedric told her to play it. She, with the way the votes went, she wouldn't have needed to play her idol even though she was told to. So she
Well,
was upset about that.
I don't think Cedric ever said, "Hey, maybe you don't need to anymore," because Justin's on board with blindsiding
Yeah,
Kyle.
which is what she's saying is like if the communication that she needs is there with her trusted allies, she wouldn't have needed to play her idol.
Yeah,
So I guess she's correct there, but I think they also just didn't want her to have her idol, which she hasn't really pieced that
I think
together.
everyone kind of agreed, yeah, that she shouldn't have an idol. I
She
think she's
hasn't
the
she
last
hasn't thought
person that
that
needs
far
one.
ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, so then it goes into kind of like I think they've determined that they have this time to like go into each tribe and kind of show a little about their life on the beach on the island. And so they started with Siva, and this is where like David talks about living in
Oh my
a
God.
trailer park in front of his dad's house. And he tells Kyle, and Kyle's instantly like, "Wow, that's so awesome." What does he
Yeah,
say?
well, because he's just like talking from the heart with Kyle because they're like making some kind of like
I think
gumbo
they're
soup or
doing.
something.
Is that what they were doing?
I don't know if it actually
They
looked like
were at
clothes
the
was in. It
fire.
looked like clothes
It
were
was
actually
probably
in there.
close.
Um, and what's his name?
David
David's like, yeah, bro, I
with the
live,
four nipples.
yeah, with the four nipples. He's like, I live in a trailer in front of my dad's house. And then Kyle's immediate reaction is like, oh, dude, that's so cool. Or he's like,
That's
that's so
sick.
sick. He's like, that's so sick. And then David's like, no, it's not sick.
No, that's actually
It's
really
actually pretty
not.
fucking lame and pathetic. And he's like, oh, he
Oh,
didn't say it like that, but he basically just said like, it's actually not that sick. In his head, he was like, wow, what a terrible reaction. Because I mean, I I can't believe anyone would ever have that as their
I
initial
mean, he's
reaction.
he's obviously like pretty optimistic, and he was trying to be
Yeah,
like, "Well, you're a stunt man, so like it
yeah,
makes
and
sense, I
I think
guess."
it would be different if he wasn't 38.
Yeah,
I think a lot of because I think Kyle is or
I have
Kevin.
no idea how old Kyle is.
He looks like he's probably around like
He's
in
in
his
his 20s.
mid early 20s. So when he hears that this stuntman, which everyone when they think of a stuntman, they think of like someone who's like a low key action star. You know, they're like in the background, but they're working on like these sets of um, doing like some of the most fun stuff that you see in action movies.
I think of that '70s show when um, Kitty buys the jacket for Hyde that says stuntman.
Oh yeah, I think of what I think of a stuntman now, which is a pretty recent because the movie was not that long ago. Is I think of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Brad Pitt's character. He lives in a trailer park, or no, he lives in the back of a drive-in theater, where or what are those called? Movie theaters where they play it on a projector and you're in your car.
Yeah, drive-in theater.
Drive-in theaters. He lives like in the back parking lot of that, and he lives in a trailer with his dog. And I always think of that when I think of a stuntman. Um, and it kind of reminded me. I mean he's brolicky like Brad Pitt,
Yeah.
but
Well, okay, so David was saying that like the worst thing about it is that he really wants to start a family.
yeah. And when you're 38 and your girlfriend or fiance, whoever, well, I don't
His
know,
girlfriend is 32,
32 and like
and because David doesn't have the finances to own a home or really start a family, she's obviously like,
time's
"Nah,
ticking.
dog, that's not happening right now."
Yeah,
And she wants to be a stay-at-home mom. So he's like feeling this pressure to win
yeah.
the game so that he can win $1 million to start a family.
So it's obviously a very different viewpoint than somebody who is like in their
Like
20s.
Kyle.
Yeah, like Kyle's who like could be in their 20s and also a stuntman living in the trailer, like saving some money by living on your dad's lawn. But I just thought that was such a fucking crazy reaction and like thing to say. And then they kind of just delve into David more as a person and his motivation, which is ultimately to start a family. Um, and I hope if he does win, I don't think he's going to win, but if he does win, or if he gets any opportunities open because of this season of Survivor, I hope he spends that money wisely, and I hope he invests it properly and can start his family. Because it would suck if he won the $1 million and he just like didn't manage it right, and then it was all for nothing.
Yeah, but um So that conversation is happening, and then they go to Loggy, and they show Joe making like this bonfire
Yeah, a huge
pit.
bonfire,
Yeah,
which I don't think anyone has ever. I mean, I've
I
never.
don't think I've seen anybody making
I
a
haven't seen every
bonfire.
season, but it seems like such a crazy way to spend your energy. Is just to build a big
Well,
bonfire.
he wanted to create like family vibe,
Yeah,
and it did. It seemed like
yeah.
Eva told the
Which,
story of like having a bonfire at home, and
well, ironically though, Star wasn't there. She was the only person
yeah,
that
Star
wasn't
wasn't even
there.
there. That was like
I think
fucked
she
up.
was trying to figure out the idol, which I don't think at the end of this episode she still
She
hasn't
still
done.
hasn't gotten it. Yeah, but um I thought there was a pretty funny moment where Joe's like, "We're gonna have dinner at 6, and there's two wine options." And he said the two wine options were hungry as hell and stranded on an island. I just thought that was pretty funny. So then that went into Thomas like talking about. I think it showed Thomas talking about how funny Joe was, or was that Shaheen
That was Shaheen.
with Thomas's face
Yeah,
first? But they showed Thomas, and he has like this black eye from getting hit the last
yeah.
challenge, which was pretty funny. But then Shaheen says that Joe is his number one, and then he explains like the California girls, and it's Thomas, Shaheen, and Joe. And then Joe's plus one is Eva. Thomas's plus one is Bianca, and obviously Thomas is also, or Thomas. They haven't really shown like Shaheen his bias towards Eva or Bianca.
Well, I think he's obviously more biased towards
I guess
um
there was a moment where Thomas thought that Shaheen gave him a look saying, "Yeah, let's get Eva out." But it
yeah,
wasn't like
which is crazy
verbalized.
to kind of decipher all that from a look, but
And that was actually at the bonfire
yeah, it's at the bonfire because I
because
think
Eva gave
she gave Joe a
a
friendship
bracelet.
friendship bracelet for his daughter because she was like, I know you don't like bracelets, but this could be a memento for your daughter for your time on here, which I thought was super sweet.
It was sweet. It
Um,
maybe could have been private because then that
yeah,
led to Thomas saying that they need to get Eva out.
Thomas's initial reaction, like his first reaction, is like, "This is
Ew.
too strong of a bond." Yeah, he made like a face, and I think they showed Shaheen, and apparently Shaheen looked at Thomas, and he said that, "Oh, we gave each other a look, like maybe we gotta settle this soon, or like get rid of this threat." Which ultimately, with the first episode, and they showed Joe so attached to Eva, I think if they were to blindside him and get rid of Eva, I don't think that he would ever play with them again, or like he would ever trust them again. So I don't see the point of doing that, and ultimately they're not going to get the chance because spoilers.
I
I
mean, if you're watching this,
If you're
you should
watching,
have
you should
watched the
know,
episode.
but
But
um,
the next week episode, it shows that they're dropping their buffs, so they're getting switched up. And
yeah,
it actually shows Eva like doing this with her
nervous.
hands. So
Yeah, I'm assuming that. I mean, the chances of her being on the same team with Joe are
pretty
pretty
slim.
slim. But I think she'll do fine. Maybe it depends if it's like she's the only one from Loggy and it's like three green, three orange, or whatever, or two orange, two green. But we'll see. But obviously, unless Thomas is on the same tribe with her, he's not going to get an opportunity to take her out before merge.
Yeah. And then it went to Vula, and it showed that she was out early looking for the idol, and that's when Say is out and starts following Mary, like literally chasing her around
Oh
the
yeah,
jungle. And it wasn't even like Say was really looking for the idol. She was just kind of trying to prevent Mary from finding it.
which I never understood that strategy. I think I've seen it happen one time where they're following someone and they see it before the other
That was
person.
Roman.
Was it who?
It was Roman.
Roman.
Rome.
Rome. That happened to Rome.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, he found it in front instead of Saul, right?
Did Rome find it?
I think he found an idol. I remember
I just remember him chasing whoever was
it
looking,
was Saul. He was
and he
chasing
was
Saul.
literally like babysitting him. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. Well, no. What I'm saying, I've never seen that strategy work where they babysit somebody. and then they find the idol before they do. Like it just seems like that strategy is kind of like pointless because they're not really looking for the idol; they're looking at the person finding the idol. So they're just gonna find the person that found the idol, or they're just gonna
Yeah.
look at the person who finds the idol.
Say was thinking that it would make Mary not have time to find it, but
Well,
Mary's
yeah,
just like, I'm looking for it. And they somehow end up having like a mutual respect for each other through that
yeah.
because they're both playing so hard. And it's just so ridiculous that they don't then turn around and be like, why don't we just play together?
Which is insane to me because while they're doing this, Cedric and Justin are literally sleeping. Like they're just taking naps. They're just not. They're literally doing nothing, and it just kind of makes you wonder if you were on the island, like why the fuck am I paired up with these two bums that aren't doing anything? They're
Yeah,
sleeping. And the
I
person,
think I think Say likes the thought that she can control them.
yeah, even though she can't,
Yeah.
and like I think every vote has pointed to that direction that she can't really trust either one of them or all three of them.
Yeah.
Kevin turned on her. Um,
Justin.
Justin, he
He
didn't
hadn't yet,
he
but
hadn't
he
yet,
wanted
but he
to.
he if it was up to her, if it was up to if it was either her or Cedric, it would be Cedric. Like he would choose him all the way.
Well, and then it bounces back to Siva, and it just quickly says that Mitch wants to work with Charity, and then they go on a boat ride, and Mitch goes on a boat ride with Kyle to go fishing, and then he talks gameplay with Kyle, and Kyle just says like, now I have the option between this group and Mitch and Charity, and I have an idol. So he's like kind of open to
He's probably in
options.
the best spot. Um, Even going into the well, now that I think about it, I wonder what's gonna happen with Star because
Because she hasn't found her
she hasn't
idol.
found her idol and
So
they're
unless
about to
she
merge.
stays on the island
Yeah,
or on the
same
same
island or
same tribe,
same tribe. Yeah,
I don't think that she'll have an opportunity to find it.
yeah,
Interesting. That would be historic too.
yeah. That would be pretty crazy.
That would be pretty cool. Um, and then it goes back to Loggy, and it shows Eva trying to talk to Star and even test her about the idol and to talk about gameplay. So she asks Star, like, did you find the idol? Or because she was like, you were out for a long time, like, did you find anything? And Eva's asking, knowing the answer, and Star lies to her. And so Eva's like, she doesn't trust me. And then Eva tries to like talk gameplay with her and suggests that we don't need two puzzlers. Let's get out Thomas or Bianca. And unbeknownst to Eva, Star trusts Thomas and Bianca the most out of the entire tribe. So Star immediately goes and tells Bianca and Thomas that Eva is gunning for them. And then that's when they are like, let's get Eva out. Like, are you
Yeah,
kidding me?
and I think it's pretty obvious that at this point Thomas is kind of at the head of it, and it seems like no one is really aware of how hard he's going to be playing and how big of a threat he's going to be.
I mean, Shaheen's gotten like an inkling of it when he was like,
Oh, that's true.
let's just lose it.
Yeah, with the puzzle for Star.
Yeah.
Um, but it seems like there's going to be a lot of casualties, and then they're going to find out too late. Like, oh shit, Thomas is the one that was actually the one to worry about.
Mm-hmm.
That's just what it's looking like, and that's why I had him at my number one for making it to the end.
Yeah, he was a good choice for number one.
And
But also, if you play too hard,
yeah, if you play too hard, your spot's gonna get blown up. And I think he's playing pretty, I mean, moderately, but
I think
internally,
it's just because they haven't lost.
yeah. And internally, I mean, this would be a whole different season if he wasn't winning every challenge. Um, but I think internally he's playing pretty hard. I think externally he's kind of keeping his cards to himself. He
Mm-hmm.
still has an advantage that no one knows about, and he actually says that I plan on telling nobody until it needs to be revealed.
Right.
Which I think is the best way to go. If you have an advantage, even if you have a number one, you should probably keep that to yourself because
I
you
think
never
so.
know.
I think that's probably the best gameplay
Yeah, unless
so
you're
far.
like on the end or if you're on the outs and you need to tell somebody to gain their trust, that's kind of the only reason I would say you need to reveal it.
Yeah.
even then it's risky. But he's in a really good spot, so telling it would just put more target on his back. So I think he's doing pretty good.
He is doing pretty good.
I think
It
it's
seemed like he had a moment of like, because Star told them that Eva was gunning for them, that he was going to help Star find the idol.
yeah. He said, well, I guess our plan should be let's help Star find the idol, and then let's use it on Star against Eva. But it's not.
It never showed them finding the
It
idol
never
for
showed them
Star.
finding
Yeah.
it, and even if they did find it, they're not going to be on the same tribe for the next episode anyway, unless it's a crazy
I'm
rock
worried
pick.
that Eva's going to end up on the tribe with Bianca and Thomas, and they're just going to vote her out their first chance they get, and Joe's not going to be
Well,
there to stop it.
that would be a majority though. That would be. I don't see them doing that if they have the majority vote because as of right now, Thomas and Bianca have the majority vote with Star. But if they're on a tribe alone with Bianca, I don't think that they would backstab Bianca just because then they would lose their majority
You
vote.
mean Eva?
I mean Eva, yeah, because if it's Eva,
Yeah, I guess that's
Eva,
true.
Thomas, and Bianca, and they're all in the same tribe, and there's like one or two other guys from another tribe, then they can just vote out whoever they want.
I think it depends on how pissed off Thomas gets
That is
because he
true.
seems like a revengeful
Spiteful
bitch.
person, yeah. He's a
Yes,
diva.
quite the diva, that one. And then we get to the reward and immunity challenge, and Loggy sits out Eva and Bianca. Siva sits out Charity and Kyle. And then it shows that Siva got the 3 keys first. Loggy was in second place, but then Loggy ends up winning first
Yeah, with the puzzle.
with the slide puzzle. And then Siva won second, so Vula freaking loses again. And then Bianca, Justin, and Camilla go on a journey. I also wanted to say the blindfold challenges are not my favorite.
To watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's kind of just a lot of bumping into walls, and that's kind of it. And there's no real
And a
like,
lot of yelling and chaos and
yeah. And there's three people yelling over each other, so it's really hard to follow along. And all the gameplay is really like the strategic gameplay is just yelling. It's kind
yeah.
of funny to see like say she was like so oblivious to Cedric call outs. Like he'd be like turn left, and she would turn right.
Yeah.
Uh,
But at the same time, I'm thinking like this would be like the worst thing to have to do on national television in front of like everyone to be blindfolded like an idiot and you're just like banging around on things and
yeah,
you're just looking
David
like
David hit the most. Like he hit
yeah,
his
David was
balls, he hit his head, he like ran into everything he could possibly find.
yeah. Joe was really good at it.
Yeah, Joe like basically ran.
He must have like kept that in mind and knew his
I was wondering
course.
I was wondering if they spun them,
They don't.
but
I don't think they showed
because
anything.
I think if they did spin them, there's no way he would have been able to do that. I think
Yeah,
he was standing where he was, and then they blindfolded him, and he like
he
knew
just
exactly
like
where it
he
was.
went out and ran straight
He
towards
basically
it.
darted to it. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was pretty impressive.
it was impressive. And then yeah, I just don't really enjoy watching that. And it also comes down to the caller. Like, if they lose, it is the caller's
Yeah,
fault.
and they almost choked with the puzzle. Like she was not doing. Siva was not doing very good.
Camilla, yeah.
Camilla, and you could tell on her face like she knew that if she didn't win, then she might have been on the chopping block because the whole challenge basically relies on her.
Mm-hmm.
She's the only one that can see and the only one that can give out call outs.
Yeah. And so then Loggy was the one that chose people to go on the journey, but they show Mary back at camp going swimming first before they show the journey. And Mary's like, my strategy right now is to act like I found the idol. And because I think that's my best chance, I don't have time to actually find the idol. So I'm just going to act like I found it. So she goes swimming and it freaking works with Say. Say actually thinks that she found the idol. And Cedric's like, no, she didn't find the idol.
Whoa, you're skipping like
I'm
crazy.
actually not.
Did they show the?
That whole conversation happened and then they showed the journey.
Okay, so okay, I'm tripping.
Notes.
Yeah,
Notes.
whatever.
Okay, so then they show the journey and they show like that it's a dice rolling game, which freaking sucks.
Yeah, I mean
That your game is up to fate.
the odds were not against or were not for them, and like I think both the people that lost their votes instantly rolled like horribly.
Pretty much. Yeah, it was Bianca that lost her vote first, and then Camilla gets an extra vote, and then Justin loses his vote.
Mm-hmm.
And Camilla shares her advantage with her tribe, and then Bianca says that she didn't risk her vote to the whole tribe and tells that the challenge was something different than what it was. But then she pulls Thomas to the side and tells him the truth. And Thomas tells her, like, oh, you're good at lying. Like, I bought that. And that's when he's like, I'm glad that she told me, but I'm still not going to tell her about my
Yeah,
advantage. And then Justin gets back and he lies completely about what it
such a
was.
crazy lie
That,
too.
yeah, usually they don't lie that much. I think I've seen maybe one other player lie that badly about
I don't
the
even think it was a
journey.
horrible lie. It was a
It's just
lie.
an odd one.
It was a lie that if he makes it to the next tribal or like to the next day, it's not gonna the reveal is gonna be bad because his lie was basically like, oh, I rolled these dice and it was either like you roll white question marks or red question marks and I don't know what they'll mean until the next tribe or until the next day.
It was like comfort, shelter, or something else.
Yeah, and he was like, I don't know what it's gonna be. We don't know what it's
We
gonna
don't
be
know.
until
We'll see
tomorrow.
tomorrow.
So like, if he makes it to tomorrow and nothing happens, he's gonna be like,
I
yeah,
think
guys,
he
I lied.
I don't think that he expected that lie to even come up again because his first lie is that he lost his vote. And so they would have seen that he lost his vote that night, whether
Yeah,
he
he
went
was
home or
really just
not.
thinking about not telling his tribe that he lost his vote, just to make it to the next day and just worry about the lie coming up.
And just like so that they didn't know that he didn't have his vote.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Um so that happens. And then Mary keeps making Say believe that she has an idol, so she just keeps like up her facade and she's doing a really good job at it. And um so then they're like talking about or Say like decides to herself that she's probably going to vote for Justin or she's like trying to come up how is she going to save herself. And we get to tribal. There's a lot of talk between Mary and Say again. I think Jeff is like, damn,
I don't
what is
even.
your guys' deal? Like, why
Yeah,
do you hate each other so much? And then they get to the vote, and
Justin didn't even say a single word.
Justin
I
didn't
don't
say
think.
anything.
I don't think he said a single word the entire talk from
He
tribal.
didn't talk at all.
I don't think he said a word.
I
I
know
mean,
he
if
didn't
he,
say anything after the first vote. I don't
yeah,
remember if he said anything before then,
I
but
don't
I
think.
wouldn't be surprised if he
I
didn't.
don't think he said anything.
It was mostly Mary and Say.
Yeah, I think Cedric had like a comment about medicine and surgery and like if this was in the surgical field, we would just give him medicine or something like that. He just had some kind of tie into that.
Yeah. Um yeah, so then they go to the vote and Mary ends up playing her shot in the dark and for the second time in the game, it works. She's safe. And we have a correction. The person that was safe before, his name was not Kyland, it was Caleb.
You looked it up?
I sent you the video.
Oh, of the yeah, she sent
Yeah.
me the video. By the way, that just reminded me we got to address an elephant in the room.
What?
I sent you a video of Jeff falling last episode.
Oh,
He fucking face
the elephant in
plants.
the room.
I mean, it
I
has to
forgot about it.
it has to be discussed. I think it was during the immunity challenge, or it could have been a
Yeah,
reward
last
challenge.
episode.
Um, I'll put it up on the screen. Jeff literally falls,
Face plants
face
into the
plants, and he
sand.
just like brushes off. He's like, I hope the camera's gonna pick that up.
There were two funny things that happened in that video. It showed that Say wasn't doing a damn thing to help lift the trunk in the
Oh,
last
I
episode.
don't think I saw that.
Yeah, she was just like like the whole time.
Yeah.
And then yeah, and Jeff like face planted into the sand behind them. It was super funny. I'm actually surprised that he didn't say anything. Like,
Yeah,
and I
and
just fucking face planted.
it sounds like they would have cut his mic if he's mic'd up. I don't know if he is, but
Yeah,
because there was no sound, they really try to play it off like
that
it
was
didn't
pretty
happen.
funny, and I definitely missed that
Yeah,
until
I didn't
seeing
see
that.
it until I
Yeah,
saw the video, and then even the first time I saw the video, like what's happening, and then I you could see it if you
yeah,
watch it enough times.
but that's funny. So Mary's safe. So then there's only two votes
Wait, did you
in.
say that she threw her shot in the dark?
Yeah.
Okay, which is the third person to ever have their
Second.
shot. No, because Caleb wasn't the first, was he?
Hmm.
No, I don't think so.
To be safe.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think no, I don't think so.
Look it up.
I can't. You look it up. I'm so certain. Yeah, I got time. I'll cut it.
Okay, fine. Okay, it said this person Jamie, but I don't think that was right.
You're saying Google's wrong?
Um, no. Let me see, Jamie. Because it doesn't even mention Caleb.
What'd you look up?
I said, how many times has the shot in the dark worked?
What?
Is that her?
I don't know. I just know.
That's who it's saying that it worked
I
for.
just know that it happened, and it was a female, and she was the first one. And then I remember them making a big deal, like, "Oh, this is the second time it's ever happened."
All right, so I know it happened for Caleb. It might have happened for this
Might
person.
have happened. Google says it happens, and she's
Google
like,
said it happened, but it
"Oh,
also doesn't mention that it happened to Caleb. So
okay, maybe it's just not updated."
uh, they're
Why
from
would
the
they?
same
Why
season.
would they lie about Jamie throwing her shot in the dark?
I'm not saying they're lying. I'm just saying like it may not be correct.
That's a lie. Or
I'm just
falsely.
saying it's also not correct about not
It
mentioning
doesn't matter.
Caleb.
We know for a
It does
fact. We
matter.
know for a fact Caleb threw his shot in the dark and it worked. Google is saying that this happened, but why would they
Okay.
just
Until I
make
see video,
this?
I don't believe it.
Okay, well
But
you're just wrong again. But
you were wrong.
I'm not wrong.
You called him Kyland, and his name was
Okay, well
Caleb.
I was getting mixed up with the challenge because
Okay,
kind
so
of have the
at
same
most
hair.
3 times it's turned up safe.
Yes.
What is your fucking
I'm
problem?
just
You're
saying
so
that
annoying.
you were wrong.
You were so annoying. And then what you see, you got me like totally off now. They only had 2 votes in the, what do they call it? The urn?
The urn.
I
Yeah.
don't know what it's called.
Well, it's crazy because they kind of like are like, wait, was that a mistake?
Yeah, they show Cedric being like confused.
Yeah.
And for some reason, until the moment that Jeff reveals that Justin doesn't have a vote, which is
Yeah.
after like 3 votes.
Yeah. Well, because so how it happens is
So Mary's safe because, and so the 2 votes for Mary are discarded, so they have to vote again, and it's only
mhm.
Cedric and Say voting. Say votes for Justin, Cedric votes for Say, so then it's a tie again, and then they
Which
have to go up and vote again.
if I'm Cedric, like, what are you expecting? I mean, obviously he must have not like really put together that there was only 2 votes, even though he heard it. Because then I think Jeff says there's well, after that, but I
They
mean,
vote. I think they vote again
yeah,
before Jeff is
and
like,
it's the same vote, and it's like, why would Cedric even go through this fucking whole rigmarole when he knows Say isn't gonna vote for herself, and she can't vote for anyone besides Justin? Like, why would he even waste his time with that? But
she
it's
could have voted for Cedric.
I guess, but either way, he should have just voted for Justin because either it's him or it's Justin, and
I think that
ultimately
he
that's what it
just
came
wanted to
down
see what
to.
was going to happen.
I guess, but that just kind of blew up his whole game, and by
Hmm.
showing his ultimate alliance to Justin and not Say, so now Say isn't going to believe anything that Cedric says.
Well, except that Cedric just saved her because ultimately it came
Reluctantly,
down to Cedric being the voice because in the historic moment of it being deadlocked like 3 times,
yeah,
um, the only thing that could happen was because Justin didn't have a vote, and usually it's the 2 people that are up for being voted for don't vote. So then it came down to Cedric.
Yeah.
his voice. And and Jeff actually said that Say would be voting, but the only person that she could vote for would be Justin. So that's why it came down to Cedric.
Yeah,
Cedric.
and because the only two options are Say and Justin, and Justin can't vote, and Mary is safe, so she doesn't have a vote. Um, this is like the historic moment to where they can't even go to Rocks because ultimately it
Well,
would be unfair.
yeah. Well, they couldn't go to Rocks, and or if they would go to Rocks, it would only be Cedric. So
Yeah, which means Cedric would just go home.
yeah, so it was like Cedric, you either decide who's going home or you go home.
Yeah, so that's
So
the only reason why Cedric had to vote for Justin. I think if it was like, I think if Jeff were like, we can just do Rocks and
all
everyone has to
three of you,
participate except for Mary,
mm,
I think Cedric might have gone that way.
maybe,
He maybe would have thought about
maybe,
it because he
but
was still thinking about like, I don't know if I should do it. I might as well just leave if I can't
Say
be with my
had,
boy.
yeah, Say had to argue,
She had to basically beg him to
yeah,
not vote for her.
and she reminded Cedric that, like, did you fucking know he didn't have a vote tonight? Like,
Yeah,
he didn't
like
even tell you
yeah, he
that.
was lying to you.
I've told you every single thing in this game that has happened.
Yeah,
And so then Cedric was like, I will keep Say on one condition that
which is so insane because he doesn't have any authority to be making demands because either it's you go home or you vote for Justin. Like you
I
don't
don't
have.
know, Say agreed to it. She was
She
like,
agreed.
yeah, me and Mary will get along.
Yeah, which honestly I kind of hope that they're on the same tribe. Mary and if Mary and
Say
Say are on the same tribe with some other randoms, I think it would be pretty
they probably
interesting.
would
I
work
think they would work
together.
together.
Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe.
And I think that would maybe redeem Say in my eyes because I think
I think I'm starting to see like some aspects of Say that could be like,
respectable.
yeah, yeah, we'll
I think
see.
I think it's not as bad because Mary's safe. I think had Mary gone home, I would have been like, "Fuck Say,
Yeah,
I
that would
hate
have been
Say."
a different story.
But this shot in the dark was great. Um,
It's always satisfying to see that work.
yeah, all the three times it's happened, it's very satisfying.
Hmm.
Um, is that and that's pretty much the
That was
episode.
pretty much it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even though that was a historic vote, I don't have that much to say about it because I'm just tired of seeing Vula at
I will
tribal.
say, and I was thinking about this, is that I do appreciate that it has been them every single time, and that happened last season when what's her face won. She was on a tribe where they lost every single time to the point where they had to go to a mini merge where they merged the teams up again because they were just there's only four of them left or three of them left. And I think with that season, it was really like annoying to watch those first few episodes because it was like we already know who's gonna lose, and the tribal was never entertaining. It was always like it's a known fact or not a known fact, but it's known within everybody. Like the vibe is there. Like we know who's gonna get voted out, and then they would get voted out. With this season, I felt like there's been at least one blindside with Kevin.
Hmm.
Um, I think the one vote that was like really like boring to watch
Steph.
was Steph, is because you kind of knew. In the first episode, you kind of didn't really know if Justin and well, Justin was really the middleman who would have determined that vote, and he ultimately voted with Say, but it could have been against Say, or not against Say, but against would have been.
It would have been against Say
It would
and
have been against
Cedric.
Say.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think those are I guess at this point, three episodes where something interesting did happen. There was only one vote that was like kind of whatever.
Yeah. I don't know.
Although
I
it,
want to see other alliances tested.
yeah, exactly, and that's kind of the downside of having this one team lose every single time is because you kind of know the fate of that team, and those people on the team, and they're just kind of eating each other alive while these other people are like in fantasy land,
Yeah, just not
and
like not even playing a game.
yeah, they're not even really playing the game, and ultimately, it kind of,
It actually kind of hinders their long-term
yeah,
game because they haven't had to do anything yet.
because they're so comfortable, and when they get into the game, finally, like when they actually have to start like making votes and like testing their alliance, they're so like not in tune with it because they haven't had to go to tribal yet.
Yeah, they're just not in that mindset. While these
Yeah,
other people
and they're like
that
on what day 8 or
they're on, yeah, day 7, I
day
think was the
7.
last day, but
So that's like a week of just like basically just having fun on an island in Fiji,
Mm-hmm.
just doing nothing besides
Getting
winning
rewards.
challenges.
Yeah. Yeah. I would like to see, I mean, I'm excited to see them switch up the tribes, see what happens. It looked like Eva was still wearing purple, so she's probably still on Logie.
I don't think that they would have that oversight and show that, but maybe,
I mean, switch ups could mean that you stay on your same tribe and new people enter the tribe,
maybe
but
that would be horrible though, because then they would just be voted out instantly.
that's what happens.
I think it's more fair if it's all scrambled up because I mean there are seasons
It's by
where
rocks.
oh okay well I mean you made it sound like Jeff was just going to be like all right you three are going to be divided into these two established
Well, it's
teams.
still three tribes, so it's still Siva, Logi, and
Yeah,
Ula. So people that are on those tribes can still end up being on their own
yeah,
tribe. So it's based off of drawing
but the way
rocks.
you made it seem was like Jeff was just going to insert those people into the already teams. But I think it would be better if hopefully if the rocks go well, it's more jumbled up and people are like, um, it's evenly distributed and it's not like you know five uh Siva and one purple or one
It'll be
green.
five on
Is
each
it five
team.
each?
Yeah.
So it's not four of one team and only one of another team.
It's happened that way before.
It has happened that way
It's happened
before.
that way
I
before.
think it happened last season.
It was pretty
And
recently,
they
yeah.
that was the one time where they were like, let's use this opportunity to use the person that was on the end or on the outs to blindside someone on our inner team.
Hmm.
So maybe that looks like it might happen, but
It could happen. Anything can happen in Survivor.
yeah,
That's why it's really hard to make calls from the beginning because it's not even really based off of like how good of a player they are. There's so much luck that goes into it, which may be part of why the journey was about luck.
yeah, that was straight
It's
up
like
luck. I've
kind of
never
a
seen that before.
reminder that like a lot of this game is based off luck.
Yeah, luck and timing, and I don't think I've ever seen an advantage like that where one you can't even opt out of it, and two it's like it's just straight up rolling dice. That's fucking
I
crazy.
think this the first season that none of the journeys have been able to not participate. Like you have to participate.
I think so.
I feel like
Well,
in past seasons they've had the choice to not participate.
yeah, I know it's always been an option, and I feel like there have been seasons where maybe like the first set of journeys like they don't let you, and then the second set they do, or they kind of mix it in between. But this entire season, which has only been two journeys, or I guess three,
Three.
you had to participate.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I
because
think
if
it's more interesting.
yeah,
I think it's more interesting. I I think that that's the only reason why they've been able to lie, like the players that have come back, because this is the first season that they've been made to participate.
yeah,
So in other seasons, they could say no. So that's why these players are like, yeah, I just decided not to risk my vote.
and what's crazy is that there is now three people going into this mini merge with no votes.
There's Bianca, three people.
Star doesn't have a vote.
Star. Oh yeah, because she hasn't found the
She hasn't
idol.
found her idol. She still has the beware advantage.
So who was the other person that lost their vote?
Camilla. No, Camilla got hers.
Camilla earned an extra
Oh no, never
vote.
mind. Too. Justin went home. Never mind.
Well, okay, but from last challenge, okay, so Thomas earned an advantage. I'm trying to remember who else went on the journey last time. Do you remember?
I don't. Wasn't it Kevin or it was
No, it
Mary
was
and she
from
lost her
Siva.
vote. Mary lost her vote,
Mary lost her vote.
and the other guy, I think he got the
I'm
advantage.
talking about orange and purple.
I think Purple got the advantage
Yeah,
because I
it was
remember.
Thomas.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
who went on
Thomas.
Siva? Who went on the journey on Siva?
Orange team.
Yeah.
Oh, it was fucking God. I can't remember his name, and I don't want to point out characters.
Mitch?
Yes, Mitch. It was Mitch.
And what did he
He
do?
got his advantage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because he went home or he went back and he was like, he told that he got his advantage, and they were all cheering for him.
Okay, so Mitch and Camilla both have advantages. Kyle has an idol. In Loggy, Thomas has an idol. No, Thomas doesn't have
He has
a
an
has
advantage.
an advantage. Star is looking for an idol.
Yeah.
Bianca has lost her vote. And then Green, it's just Cedric, Say, and Mary. And none of them have an advantage
Hmm.
or have a vote lost either. Interesting. I am excited for next week. I feel like this week
I think it was still interesting, and I'm glad that Mary made it out. I mean, we
I
obviously
am, yeah.
knew that they were going to lose, so it was kind of like, well, is it just going to be Mary again, or? So I'm glad things were shaken up, and she made history being the third person to get the shot in the dark, because I mean, it gets played at least once a season, and it's like, fuck,
Mm.
what's even the point if it's never used properly, or it's never
Well,
actually
I really
worked.
like the way that Rachel used it last season. Do you remember how she used it?
Yeah, I think you mentioned it the first episode, but I forget.
I mentioned it to you before we did this,
Oh,
but Rachel used her shot in the dark as like a tester to see how people would react to her using her shot in the dark because she had an idol that nobody knew about. So she wanted to see if she should play her idol or not. And so by playing her shot in the dark, she was waiting for reactions of like, oh shit, is she going to be safe? And she saw that they were chill. And so she ended up not using her idol and she was safe because they
yeah,
didn't vote for her. And that was the first time that the shot in the dark was used like that instead of as a
just using
safety
it.
net. Yeah.
Yeah, it just feels like, you know 9.9% times out of 10, it's just it never works. So it's refreshing seeing it actually work, especially when it's on somebody you like. When it happened to uh, Caleb, I was very,
That
very,
was like one of my favorite moments.
very, very, very excited that that happened,
Mm-hmm.
especially because everyone voted for him. It was very
Every
disheartening.
single person on that tribe had voted for
Yeah, it
Caleb.
was very sad seeing him go the next episode, but it was very satisfying seeing everybody so shocked, and the person who ended up getting voted out, known in that moment, like, oh fuck, I'm about to go home because
Mm-hmm.
Caleb's not an option anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a good episode. This was, I think, still a good episode. Um,
Do you think we should do like a rating for the episodes?
sure, I would give episode one. I don't know. I kind of don't even remember. Um,
Just start with this episode.
okay, well, I'd probably give episode one like around 8ish. I'd probably give episode two.
So 1 through 10.
You want to do out of 5 or out of 10?
Um, let's do out of 5.
Okay, well then I'd probably give it like 2.5 first episode. Probably the same next episode, 3. I don't remember. Third one, Steph gets voted out. That was probably like a 2. That one's lame.
I think first episode. Did you rate this last episode?
Yeah, I would rate this episode, the one we just watched, probably 3, like in the middle. Historic
This
moment.
this one of
Yeah,
the best. Okay.
I think the first one had some. The first episode had some good moments. I think the stuff with Eva and Joe was very nice to watch. Learning about the tribes was interesting, but ultimately it was like kind of whatever episode. I think it's kind of been whatever up until this point. I think the show or this season is finally going to get really interesting with this merge or with this mini merge, because there's going to be conflict within every tribe. At least there's going to be like people who don't mesh together, and then there's going to be people that go to tribal for the first time. And we won't have to keep seeing fucking Justin laying around doing nothing, and we won't have to see Cedric kind of doing nothing too much because he kind of gets put in a spotlight being on the losing tribe and being shown for the remainder ending of the episode, because he's always on the losing tribe and he doesn't really ever say anything, do anything. I don't even know why they really casted
Justin
him.
actually called him out for not having the best gameplay.
Well, yeah, and it's like why would the fuck are we even casting people like this? Like he does not providing anything to the show. He's just kind of just
Well, except for
there.
losing terribly last
Yeah,
episode.
like that was funny, but that's all he's provided. Like he's not playing hard. He's not playing even remotely. He's like dead, like within this game, and he's still around because he has this alliance to this fucking crazy threat, say that is like a madman just roaming around this fucking island. Um, and he's just really not. He's not gaming. He's not fun to watch. So I'm hoping that they don't show him too much next episode. I don't think that he would have much to
I'm hoping
do.
that they won't show much of Vula at all.
Yeah, I hope it's more inner conflict with Siva and
The
Logi,
other tribes,
which it
yeah.
ultimately will be because there's only three of them left.
Hmm. My rating for episode one probably 3.5, maybe. Um, I think that the moment with Joe and Eva was like in one of the top moments for like sentimental, I think, moments. And then um I think first episode's always a little harder because you're like meeting all these new people and you're trying to remember the names of the tribes, the names of people. And then second episode, probably a three, maybe 2.5. I think this one was a 2.5, even with a historic moment. I'm just so tired of watching Vula that I don't know. I wasn't. I think it's cool to have a historic moment for a tribal, but I wish that it would have been with some other tribe.
Well, another thing that I pointed out when we were watching is that it's crazy how Say would be gone right now if Justin didn't lose his vote.
Mm-hmm.
Because Mary would have thrown her shot in the dark, she would have been safe, and it would have been Justin and Cedric versus Say, and Say would be going
I
home.
think that's exactly why Cedric voted for Say because he thought for some reason
Yeah,
that there
that
would be
he
an
still
extra
had a
vote in
vote.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and it's crazy. It's like the butterfly effect. Had Chastity or Charity not told Pizza Guy to go on the fucking the
Charity. Yeah.
journey,
Mm-hmm.
then he wouldn't have been in this position, and the tribal wouldn't have gone the way it did.
Wait, Charity?
Charity, she picked the people that.
Bianca did.
Oh, Bianca. I'm sorry. Bianca chose the people that went to go on the journey,
Mm-hmm.
and she picked the right person for this chain of events.
Yep. I keep going back to the thought of like the journey being about luck and just like so many players go into the game thinking like their gameplay is going to matter so much and that's what's going to get them to the end, but I feel like that was honestly like such a reminder. I mean, it really only reminded the people on the journey that like your fate is up to luck a lot of the time,
Yeah,
but you have to accept that this game
yeah,
is not the way it's not going to go the way you think it
yeah. And ultimately, the result of today's episode
is
is
luck.
based on two luck factors: is Mary shot in the dark, her being safe, and Justin's
Losing his
losing
vote.
his vote, which was
Mhm.
both by chance.
Mhm.
So the outcome of today's episode was completely determined by chance.
But like every episode, almost every episode is.
Yeah, I mean, but
Oh, well,
this
I
one
mean,
so
this one
much.
was very
This one
specific,
more
but
so. Yeah,
yeah, I just find that interesting. I think that I listened to the On Fire podcast by Jeff, and they like bring things up like that. Like I would bet that he talks about that, like the reason why it was left up to luck. And it's interesting to think about like that they do things very specifically like for a reason.
yeah.
And it's just such a good game. Very well produced. They spend a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of money into making this show, and it definitely shows that it's the best game show challenge show, I think.
It's top two.
Are you going to say the challenge is the other one?
the challenge in its prime was pretty
Okay,
good.
the challenge was pretty good, but they have never won. Like they only had one season where it was $1 million.
They had two.
Was it two?
Um, yes, there's two seasons.
Okay.
Ashley won the million, which
Yeah.
fucking pissed me off, and then someone else won
We
a
have
million.
a disagreement on that.
No, that she won twice.
She did not win $1 million twice.
No, she didn't win $1 million the second time. She won like 500 the second
Okay,
time.
but the first time when she took $1 million and
Oh no, the second time when she did was $1 million, which yeah, again, that's crazy.
but I do not think that the challenge holds up to Survivor because I think that in the end, having to have your tribe mates be the ones that decide who wins is such like a different aspect to the game that on the challenge you don't have to think about.
Which I don't love because the reason I love the challenge compared to Survivor is that my biggest thing has always been that no matter what, you can always rely on yourself to get out of
Except
your
for this
sick.
last season
Like what?
with the karma vote.
I guess, but what I mean is by getting eliminated. Like that's the one time they implemented something from Survivor or something like Survivor, and it fucking backfired because
The
it
karma
sucked.
vote had nothing to do with Survivor.
Horrible.
There is nothing like that on Survivor.
No, I mean like that's where it's like you kind of have to like be more political so you get people to vote for you. Kind of like at the end where like you kind of have to be political and get everyone to vote for you. But either way, what I'm saying is that in the challenge, you get to defend yourself, like Steve and Adam. In this season of All Stars Rival, they've been voted in every single time, and they win every single time. And it's like it's satisfying to watch somebody get thrown in time after time again, and they win. And it was the same thing that happened with the guy who um, was on Survivor, and he played the challenge one time, and he won the season, and he won
Who was
basically.
that?
It was a guy who won the season where, well, another like historic season of Survivor where they, it was like people get it voted out to like this redemption island.
I faintly remember, but I can't remember who he was.
I don't remember his name. He had a shitty tattoo, and he won. He basically won because he threw himself into fire, and he proved that he deserved to be there.
Hmm.
Um, but he had like a really rough season of Survivor, kind of being on the outs, and he won. And he had a really rough season on the challenge, being on the outs, and he
And
won.
he fought to the
Yeah,
end.
he
Like
fought
he
ruthlessly.
earned that win.
Yeah, and that's what I like is because he was getting thrown in
Yeah,
and he was winning, and that's something I appreciate because if you get thrown in and Survivor, that's it. You only have your voice to protect yourself, and
I think there's different aspects to the challenge,
yeah,
but we're turning into a challenge recap show right
yeah.
now.
Well, I'm just saying I appreciate both shows because I like getting that breath of fresh air from seeing the challenge or from watching Survivor and seeing like these bullshit votes where I'm like, this shouldn't have gone this way, and like my favorite person gets voted out, and there's nothing they could have done. I really hate seeing that. And then I watch challenge and I see somebody like something like they get thrown in and it's bullshit and they lose, and it's like, well, they're the ones who lost.
You know, I think that the aspect of Survivor that has included kind of an aspect from the challenge is the final tribal where it's a fire making challenge, and it is up to the individual player to get themselves into third place.
Yeah,
And I really like that, probably because I've become a fan of the challenge.
I
But I
like the
like that they
fire.
have to prove you do
Yeah,
like it.
I like the fire, and I like that you're able to. I think the opportunity to throw yourself into fire is
Mm-hmm.
very cool because we've seen it be the sole reason why somebody wins is
Yeah.
like, oh, they had the balls to do it, and we've also seen people throwing themselves into fire and still win, and it's like, oh, they lost.
And then they
Because I
did
think
get
that happened to
those.
the Boston guy last season. I think he threw himself into the fire, or no, not last season, but 2 seasons ago.
Yeah.
He threw himself into fire, or he had to do fire, and
That
he
was
still,
actually a season with Caleb. I saw him in that video.
yeah, 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 and he
But
still lost.
yeah, he still didn't win. But I saw it on some Instagram, like I don't know what Instagram this was, but it said I think they did their own poll because I don't think we'll find out the answers to these voting for season 50 until season 50. But it showed that like 66% or something of people said that they didn't want the fire at the end. They didn't want the fire making challenge. They wanted a
60%
vote.
people didn't want the
They wanted
fire.
them to vote.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I was like, what? It's so much more entertaining to see them have to
Yeah.
like earn their spot. I
I
think
think
I like that way better.
last season's fire was pretty good too.
I think we've had so many like awesome moments from that.
Yeah, a lot of like comeback moments where like the fire is raging.
And you're just like on the edge of your seat the whole time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially
I,
because it's such a pivotal moment in the show. Like it's a make it or break it for somebody, and it's the last determining factor within the result of the last three people
mm-hmm.
into the final tribal.
So I hope that has won out for the vote, but I don't know when exactly we find that out.
I guess season
But
50.
yeah. But we should probably end it.
Yeah, I'm about to.
Okay, that's TMI.
I probably censor that, but um,
Censor it.
yeah, that's it. I'm gonna try to work on getting these videos onto Spotify and Apple Music. It's pretty simple. I just gotta like find time to do it. Um, so if you're more on that speed, because I listen to a podcast and I have to have my phone face down because it's on YouTube and the screen is bright. So if you listen to these at night like I do, it might be more beneficial to watch these on Spotify. So look out for that. Um, Please like and subscribe if you made it. If you've made it this far, come on now.
Please.
At this point, if you've made it this far, if you're hearing these words, come on now. At this point, you
If
gotta
you like us
subscribe.
enough to watch this whole
Yeah,
video.
you gotta like and subscribe. Um, but I think that's it. We'll see you next week. We're gonna work on some other videos too. We're
We
about
have tons of things that Pink Ember Media is going to cover. Like,
yeah,
I mean, the vinyl collection is also like one of the things that we like to go over.
yeah. So I think by next week because some 2 days we're gonna be out in LA for a concert. Um,
We'll try to
but
make a video of
yeah,
that
we'll try to
too.
make a video about that. And when we get back, I'll probably make a video about the vinyl collection. That does relatively well. We can do a video of a collection of the Blu-rays and DVDs, and then we're gonna work on another show. Hopefully, like I don't know if it'll be a whole show like Reality Armchair, but it'll be about Gilmore Girls. We'll rank and talk about that show.
Yeah.
We'll try to figure out how to um, format that properly so it's easy to consume. Um, and there'll just be other content. I have a bunch of other content on my hard drive that I need to edit as well that will go up on this channel. So
And you can comment like what you would be interested in hearing
yeah,
about like media, because that's why we named it media, because it covers
yeah,
so
we
many
want to
different
cover
things.
movies, music, TV, reality TV, and as for right now, we're definitely going to cover. I think for certain vinyl content, the collection, reality TV, whether it be like next season of Love Is Blind, next season of The Challenge if it's good, or any of the
Love Is
reality
Blind is pretty
shows.
iffy because season 8 was a
Season eight
fucking
was kind of.
dud.
I think the best part of season 8 was the reunion,
Yeah, I
and we'll
guess.
probably do Traders. Traders was pretty good this season.
Traders, yeah.
Season 2 and season 3 were pretty good. Um, and then Gilmore Girls, hopefully, and then I have a bunch of music reaction stuff that I need to upload as well. Yeah, look out for that. I'm not going to promote the Patreon. It is up if you want. You can get credits at the end of the video, and you can join the Discord. But I'm not going to really promote it until I get content up on there. Um, and I'll actually announce that when there's stuff on there. So I feel like it's worth subscribing to. But I think that's it for this episode. Do you want
Peace
to say
out, Girl
anything?
Scout.
Peace out, Girl Scout. All right.